Hello, this is Lavistro, the Dragon of Cyberspace, coming to you with all news, tips, and tricks within the gaming spectrum. And it seems like a shadowy monolith that likes to mock fun at gamers who have a peculiar distaste for the way they handle games they love is possibly being rejected by the developers who make said games. I know this is kind of old news, but I do want to cover it because it goes into something else. Park Place reports back on April 2nd that Sweet Baby Inc. reportedly dropped by Sony as gaming giant canceled several projects with SBI involvement. Some of you probably already know this, but Gothic Therapy has covered this. But to give clarification for those who do not watch Gothic Therapy, which I do, I'm a huge fan. So, Master TES, Friday Raven, if you are watching this, hi, big fan. Well, you probably already know because I'm in your Discord and all that. But yes, enough geeking and fangirling. But it's been a long time coming, but it looks like the industry might finally be waking up. And I wouldn't, what's the saying? Count my eggs just yet? Is that the right saying? Anyways, according to verified insiders speaking with Gothic Therapy YouTube channel, Sony has allegedly begun canceling contracts specifically involving controversial narratives consulting firm Sweet Baby Inc. And those who don't know, if you watch my past gaming streams, in the intro in the beginning, you'll see Belair telling people that if they can't get what they want, go have a copy with your marketing team and just terrorize them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't get what they want. And then I give you the FBI definition of terrorize, or terrorism. The insider, who has provided accurate information to Gothic Therapy host Master TES in writing even in the past, claims these weren't random cuts, they were deliberate targeted terminations of in-development projects that Sweet Baby embedded in them. Check out the full video expose in the player below. We're not going to do that for copyright claims, but, shout out to them. If true, this could mark a significant turning point in what has become known as online as Gamergate 2. Personally, I don't think Gamergate has truly ended because the journalists keep mentioning it for the past 10 years. So if it has ended, then we're already talking about it. That being said, just food for thought. The rising backlash against forced narratives, identity politics, and game development, and the shadowy consultants who reshape beloved franchises to serve political messaging. Yes, I don't want to play a right-wing propaganda game. I don't want to play a left-wing propaganda game. I don't want to play an anti-religious game. I don't want to play a religious game. I want to play a good game. That's what Dragon Cast stands for. That's what Lavistro Plays does. We don't play something just because people want to see me play it, and it's new hotness, and it's the rage. I don't hate playing. I don't. I might play a game I might be interested in that's controversial, like for example, Black Myth Wukong and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. But we play the games we want, and we don't care what anyone says. Ask JDA how that worked out for him when he tried to get my channel attacked. Full disclosure, writing Raven of God's City is contributing writer for that part placed under the domain Raven Redgrave. Over the past year, Sweet Baby has come under increasingly scrutiny for its behind-the-scenes role in some of the most diverse projects in recent gaming history. From Suicide Squad, Kill Justice League, to Spider-Man 2, their fingertips have been all over scripts, character arcs, and tones. They're proudly boasting about censoring marginalized voices, but gamers have repeatedly pointed out what they're really doing is homogenizing content. There we go. Gutting it of risk, edge, or authenticity for flavor for a bland moral lectures and identity checklist. Kim Blair even told a story about starting Sweet Baby Inc. because she was upset gamers had a choice in their protagonist titles like Mass Effect 2, citing the desire to have everyone experience her specific choices. Yeah. I'm pretty sure no one wants to play my specific choices. Entertaining may be when I play it. You might want to do something different. So there she is that. She know that her black female commander Shepard gains customizable protagonist, personality with Jacob Tyler, another black character. She was so much better representation she was experiencing, but soon realized it wasn't what everyone else was going to see. Then she tried to change that. By all means, if you want to try and change something, as long as it's canon to the franchise, as long as it fits, people will respect it. But when you change something for a political narrative because you don't like whatever, you're trying to make something you want fit and make it the end thing. When you try to force something to be the flavor of the month, it doesn't work. When you try to buy subscribers, for example, you will eventually get caught out, like that one e-girl, right? You did that. She bought some subscribers. You tried to make your content the end thing, it ends up flopping. For example, Dragon Age Belair failed. Assassin's Creed Shadows is doing okay, right? But let's look at allegedly. Let's put it that way, allegedly, right? But when you force things to put a political network, let me put it this way. I had an interview when I was in college with a guy, and I'm not going to say his name outright because he'll know who I am at this point. And I don't know how we are, considering I guess it was before Gamergate 2, and I was just a college student. But he told me, right, if you do things for social justice, money, or shock value, it ceases to be art, it ceases to be a game. And that's exactly what these games are that are coming out. They're ceasing to be games, and they're just there for political justice. They're there for shock value. They're there just to get money, quick money grabs. But going on, the idea was holding the reputation is cool, but when that's on that aspect of experience, this is almost an accidental form of representation because it's something that is a possibility. And yes, Mass Effect always has possibilities. There's the canon story, and there's the possibility stories, right? Like, for example, it may be canon that Rex lives and survives. It's a possibility that he died, right? Those options are in the story. It's not guaranteed for any player depending on the character and the commander Shepard you make. Blair said during a speech in 2019. So I thought, wouldn't it be amazing if this wasn't an accident, but it was actually the intention of the game designers? You know, I'm surprised you're not arguing that Shepard should be a black female. Because, well, I remember when I bought the game, there was two cartridge types. There was Fem Shep and Male Shep, right? And most of the advertisements I saw of Shepard was, well, a white male. Just pointing that out there. This narrative first controlling force diversity approach has become a lightning rod for criticism, especially as games under their influence repeatedly underperform, get mocked, or fail to resonate with the audience. Yes, it's going to fail, especially when you make characters ugly as sin. This backlash has evolved into what many call Gamergate 2, not a revival of the original pattern, but a broader cultural pushback against activist consulting firms, DEI mandates, or DIU mandates, and corporate interference in creative storytelling. Sweet Baby Inc. has become the face of that movement, not because they're the only ones doing it, but because they're the most vocal about their goals, and Trying gamers have been just as vocal about rejecting their methods. Now, the latest leak, according to Sony, this movement may be achieving its first real industry victory. SBI God of War project reportedly among cancellations. According to Gothic Therapy Insider, one of their projects canceled may be a follow-up to God of War Ragnarok. The source couldn't confirm whether it was a DLC, a spin-off, or a full sequel focused on Atreus or Loki, only that it has Sweet Baby Inc. attached, and that Sony may have just pulled the plug. Good for them. I mean it. Yeah, like we have a mod in our Discord that fixes that. This is significant not only because the franchise is important to Sony, but because the Sweet Baby has already publicly acknowledged involvement with Ragnarok. If the sequel was similar influence, its cancellation would be a major blow, and possibly a clear sign Sony would no longer see narratives consulting from activist firms as valued add. SBI's involvement in God of War led to race swap for religious figures from Norse pagan mythology, and a whole lot of creators sitting around reflecting on his toxic behavior. Similarly, SBI consulted on Spider-Man 2, a game that leaned heavily into social justice causes, identity politics, much of which focused on cultural appropriation, teen sexual preference, and an entire mission where you played as a black, deaf girl in the Spider-Man game. Ouch. I remember Flash, Yellow Flash was talking about that. I was seeing a video where he was complaining about it. The end result of Spider-Man 2 selling 50% less than the original PlayStation Spider-Man game on PlayStation 4. Studios may be quietly cutting the cord, as Sony has reportedly canceled multiple in-development games in recent months with no official explanation. The idea that some or all of these projects involved Sweet Baby Inc. lends credibility to the insider's claim. This also raises the question if Sony is cutting ties quietly, how many other studios are preparing to do the same. GDC appearances are virtually sitting peace aside, the bottom line that still matters. If working with SBI means alienating players and taking franchises, studios may decide the inclusions simply aren't worth it anymore. Curator tools like Kabuto's Sweet Baby Detected have been created so players can actually avoid games that have Belair's fingerprints on them. Warning shot the industry can't ignore. Kim Blair's recent statement at GDC that AI should be used for empathy and inclusion, not profit, was already mocked by many online. But if this Sony rumor proves true, it may be more than a punchline. It could be much the beginning of the end for Sweet Baby Inc. unchecked influence. And one thing I'm going to notice that there's a lot of people who have their opinions on AI. I literally try to stay neutral. I acknowledge it's a Pandora's box. I recognize there's potential, and I also prefer the human element. But that doesn't mean she doesn't see the same either, and she's trying to also get onto it as well while the iron is hot. I will admit that Kim Belair recognizes opportunities when she sees it. That's how she got successful. That's how she got her narratives pushed in. She found ways to enter the door. She found opportunities to get in. It's too early to declare the company finished, but the rumor is true. It means the tide is turning and players are making their voices heard. If the major studios are starting to pull back from the narrative, consultants who prioritize ideology over storytelling, the message is clear: rewrite the games, and the games will rewrite your future. And yes, I do know a lot of people also want to claim that they're afraid to touch new games now, but they're afraid they're woke. I remember having this conversation with one of my viewers, and I said, well, there's this game I'm playing right now, and it was one of the, I think it was Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And I said, it's a new game. It's definitely not woke. I got to rescue a girl from the castle, and that's a missable opportunity, by the way. That's a player choice thing that you have to watch out for. Noticeably, if you're fighting against a tower, that's your time to pay attention to how you rescue the fair maiden. Because it's one choice that could, one skill check that could change the outcome of that quest line. That's all I'm going to tell you. But it wasn't woke at all. And then you have, by the way, it had DIE elements and stuff like that, but it wasn't forced. Like in my playthrough, I didn't really see it at all. But then you have like the Fukon, another controversial thing, right? Not woke at all. A really good game, really good. Enshrouded came out last year. I played that, but in First Ascendant, Once Human, when I was playing those games, didn't strike me as woke or DIE focused. So there are good games out there. You just have to find them, and how you find them is either you take the chance and reach it yourself, or you go look for your favorite content creator who's looking at playing them, these unsung games, because they're not getting attention. I personally don't think SBI is finished, and if this is true, this is good news, but there's going to need to be a lot more to happen than that. You're going to need to see, first off, if Sony is cutting ties to SBI, then they need to show that you're going to have undisputed sales, right? If they do this and there's no DIE elements and the game succeed, well, that's one thing. But look, Western game developers, we need some Western game developers to do the same. I know I'm not speaking a lot on it because I'm trying to be very careful with my words. But I don't think SBI is finished yet. I think this is just a battle won for gamers, and we're still fighting the war. I think we're gonna be dealing with SBI for a long, long time. But what do you think, viewers? Put your thoughts in the comments below. As always, happy gaming.
Worlds clash in endless collision. Gaming news with a fierce precision. With a spark so wild it breaks the norm. In the tempest eye, a cyberstorm. Reclaim gaming in Dragon Cast. Fire breathing wide, screaming loud. Lavistro's here to shake the crowd.